Greetings everyone, this is Connor from DagoraTV, and in this video for this week I just wanted to talk a little bit about the Elder Scrolls Online, and in more specifics, the Elder Scrolls Online 1 Tamriel, the free update that's come out, which has basically changed the game in many respects, which is, basically leveled the game now to you. So now, going into more detail on that I'll go into in a minute, but the game is now a lot more open. The game is no longer using the rubber banding leveling system. It's really a lot less restrictive when it comes down to exploration. I just wanted to talk about some of my thoughts on that, some of the plans I've kind of got about the Elder Scrolls Online, my thoughts on it, and all that kind of thing. So, the Elder Scrolls Online, for me, was a game I was obviously very excited about. I think a lot of people in the Elder Scrolls community were, especially someone with my background of, really liking to play MMOs and playing Elder Scrolls games as well. Being a huge fan of Elder Scrolls games and plays a lot of MMOs, it was kind of like right up my alley, or it appeared to be, and it just didn't work out for me, mainly because I was expecting it more to have a more Elder Scrolls feel to it. I'll maybe talk about that in another video sometime if people want me to make that kind of video. But at the end of the day, the game didn't work out for me. I've tried going back a couple of times. Most recently was the time, I believe, when they went free to play. Was the time that me and George went back, and then friend George, who's co-host of GDM podcast, and we went back again when I got my new PC. I mean, it lasted a bit longer. They was actually enjoying the game quite a bit, but we, taking trips and everything, we just never got round back to go into the game. We never really wanted to kind of really rush back into it. Whereas the problems that I kind of had with the game that really kind of made me not enjoy it when it comes down to the Elder Scrolls aspect of it, because that's kind of a bit too broad, was really, I couldn't feel like I could explore. It didn't really have that Elder Scrolls feel to it. As a game, it just felt like a really kind of mediocre MMO when you're playing the game. But the Elder Scrolls feel is really something that kind of needed to get me in. And the big way that they can really get that feeling is having that feeling that you can go out and explore. Have that feeling of exploration when you're going out and playing the game. And you couldn't really do that. And the reason why you couldn't do that is because of the rubber banding leveling system. So if you're not sure what the rubber banding leveling system is basically where, say a zone, for instance, let's take Oregon in the Elder Scrolls Online. The bottom of that zone would be level 3 to 5. So that on the whole zone, the leveling of the enemies would scale. Okay, so level 3 to 5 enemies at the bottom of it. So when you're level 3 to 5, you'll be able to fight those enemies, and then you go further up the island or the zone. The higher the level enemies get, which sounds like a good mechanic, like you're building your way up the island, all this stuff. But in Elder Scrolls, it's kind of known to be that series where you can really go, I want to go to the top of this island. I want to go have a look what's at the top of this island. I want to go over to Valenwood and have a look over there. I want to really run around and basically get a sense of the map. So if you wanted to say, I wanted to run from the bottom of Oregon to the top, you wouldn't be able to do it. You could possibly be able to do it if you was extremely sneaky, you were able to bypass every single enemy, but it's extremely difficult, because if you get into any fight, let's say with a level enemy, you're going to find it very hard to win, especially successive fights as well, with the low gear armor that you've got, and the low level ability that you have, and the low level character that you're playing. So it'd be very hard to kind of go through. At the end of the day, it's trying to keep you restricted to that hub base and kind of growing out the more levels that you kind of get. We see a lot of games recently, and one that immediately springs to mind is The Witcher 3 that does this. That works well in that kind of game, because really The Witcher isn't really a game where you're really thinking like, I'm going to run around and explore every single aspect of this world. It's more about consuming the story around you and to kind of taking the game at your own pace, moving across with the main story, kind of things like that. Whereas with the Elder Scrolls, it's known, Sky, for being able to, once the world gets open to it, just run, just go and enjoy yourself, just really go for it. And that's really, people's really popular playstyle of going, and you weren't able to do that in the Elder Scrolls Online. The fact that exploration is kind of really punished in a way, especially in the vanilla game. That you couldn't, go out and try and explore things. Doors would just be locked off to you and things like that unless you picked up the quest and everything. It just didn't have that Elder Scrolls feel, and that was a big problem for me. But with 1 Tamriel, there is a big possibility of that coming back, because I know people, did have problems with the combat in the game. People did have problems with, the nature of the quest. I didn't have a problem with the nature of the quest. I found the story of the quest actually quite interesting, to be honest with you. I like the essence of the combat because it had that kind of MMO kind of different feel to it, but you also had to be tactical. You had to look at what your opponent was doing and things like that. It maybe did have that floatiness feel to it, but I don't think as an Elder Scrolls fan that is really kind of like a viable criticism, to be honest with you, saying it didn't have that Elder Scrolls feel and then be floaty, because the combat in those games are extremely floaty. Unless you were playing without mods. If you're playing without mods, then you know, he's extremely floaty, especially a game like, you know, Oblivion, you know, that going back to something like that is really floaty. But, you know, it was different, you know, the way he brought abilities into the mix and everything. It was a very different combat system than what we've had before, and I kind of liked it, you know. I liked the dungeons in the game and the multiplayer aspects of the game when you actually got down to like the PvP and things like that. I really enjoyed those things, but it was just playing on my own or playing with another friend, and it just didn't have that feel. It didn't feel right. It wasn't that Elder Scrolls game I could play with my friends. Whereas now with having this one Tamriel update where, you know, every enemy is going to be leveled to you. So it's going to be like the Oblivion leveling system where everyone in the world is basically the same level as yourself, and you be able to, you know, you're going to be able to explore. You know, if you're in the Ebon Heart Pack zone, you're in Morrowind, you're going to, I want to see what Skyrim likes. As soon as you get into the game, you can do that. If you want to quest in a different area, you can go out to that different area and quest there. You know, the boundaries, the borders, if you will, have been really brought down this time, and I think that's a really, really good thing. And because it's getting the Elder Scrolls feel back to it, and I think at the end of the day, it's what people really want, especially the Elder Scrolls fans. You know, the MMO fans of the game, you know, went away for different reasons, or some stay behind. Same with Elder Scrolls fans, some stay behind, you know, because it's a new genre and really enjoyed it. A lot of them went away because it's not what they really anticipated. Whereas now being able to go out there and quest where you want to quest, you know, see the places you want to see, explore the places you want to explore, you know, it's a big step forward in the right direction. And the Elder Scrolls Online, the dev team over at ZeniMax has really carried on with that. You know, they've really kept at it, and, you know, I think they deserve a lot of credit for really keeping at it. And I read an article, an interview with Polygon with Pete Hines and Matt Firewall, the game director, and the two of them were basically talking about, you know, the build up to launch, the beta, the launch of the game, the patches that they've released since then, and the feedback of it, and the console launch and everything. It's all been a really, 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 you know, long ride, you know, for them. You know, it didn't launch very well. You know, it sold a lot of copies, but wasn't really received well by the fans. And they've carried on fighting it. They could have easily let it, you know, just slip by. You know, they could have just, like, easily said to forget about it. But, you know, Bethesda put a lot of money into the game. ZeniMax Media Incorporated, so he put a lot of money into the game and really wanted to get it out. You know, Bethesda Softworks publishing it, of course, and, you know, they've really kept it going well. You know, I am at some point going to be going back to the game. If you're thinking, you know, it's been out for a few weeks now, why will you not go back to the Elder Scrolls One Tamriel, you know, right now? The reason being is because my friend Nathan, who you may know from the GNM podcast, he's getting a new PC soon. He's never played the game, but he's a big Elder Scrolls fan, and it'll be his first real MMO. And he really wants to, you know, give it a go. And I said, I'll wait it out for him, and, you know, the three of us can really play the game together and quest where we want to quest. And thinking about that really does actually get me excited. And the reason for that being is because, you know, I do want the game to do well. I was really excited for the game. Probably the most excited for a video game I've ever been. Yeah, I was extremely excited for the Elder Scrolls Online. The hype was real for me. And it was a real kick in the bollocks. It was a real disappointment. And I just feel that, you know, it does have the potential to come back. You know, it's not going to be this game that I really wanted it to be in my mind before the game came out, because I did have unreal expectations for the game. But where I am now, I do think that the game could get to a point where I can, you know, play it regularly. I can go in and, you know, on a daily basis and really enjoy playing with the game, you know, get through all the leveling content, go to, you know, look at the expansion packs and play through them and really enjoy the story, you know, really get into the lore of it and everything, get the lore that I've kind of missed out on because, you know, I couldn't really force myself to play the game because I just really didn't care. Whereas now being able to take different areas at my own pace, see story points at my own pace. You know, if I'm not feeling an area of the story, I'll go get another quest and things like that, and go do another side quest. I've got that feeling now, you know, being able to be distracted and, you know, go over to do what I want to do, and it does sound good to me. And hearing feedback, you know, from people that played the game, you know, on Reddit, you know, people are actually sending emails to me as well, you know, talking about how they feel about the Elder Scrolls Online 1 Tamriel. People are really liking it. People are saying it's a good step forward, and these are Elder Scrolls fans, by the way, saying that, you know, it's a real good stride in the right direction. And, you know, more steps like these, you know, this was a really big step and it was a really good move. More like this, it could really, you know, get the game alive for the Elder Scrolls fan base, which is a really good thing to have. I think as well, you know, one of the big things as well that people have been excited about is the fact that the faction borders have been completely dropped. So there's 3 factions in the game. There's the Almeri Dominion, there's the Ebon Heart Pact, and there's the Daggerfall Covenant. And those, you know, were set factions. You know, you pick one at the start of the game, you completely quest in each say if you pick Daggerfall, you know, to start off with, you completely quest in Daggerfall, and then once you're done with that, then you go and have to quest in Almeri Dominion, and then once you've done there, you can then go in and quest in the Ebon Heart Pact. Whereas now, if I start as Daggerfall, I can go over to the Almeri whenever I please. I can go over to Ebon Heart whenever I please. They've got that freedom to, you know, go all over the place, which has really got that Elder Scrolls feel to it. And, you know, people will be saying, Connor, you're a hypocrite. Back in ESO Sunday, you said that the faction locked territory is actually a good thing for the game. And I still stand by that to the state that they kind of ruined it at launch, and I'll kind of go into explain what I mean, because I think it's a really good feature to have, because it did get that sense of faction pride amongst people. You know, people were really arguing about the factions in, you know, in forums, in Reddit posts, in the comments on videos and things like that, in game as well in the beta. You know, people like saying, you know, for the Queen, you know, for the Pact and all this kind of stuff. People were really excited about what was generally, you know, at play. You know, people really had that racial pride, people really had that faction pride. You know, it was mainly a little bit one side heavy with the Ebon Heart Pact, you know, with people over on that side. But people were really excited about going into PvP and, you know, talking about the guild and, you know, setting up and sort of talking about the faction, setting up guilds with their faction flag on it and things like that. It really sent a good community about the game, and something that was probably the best part of being a part of the hype of the game. You know, people were really excited about talking about their guilds and stuff, and talking about their faction, and I really liked taking part in that. But they kind of broke it, really, when they said that you could be any race in any alliance. And, you know, people, you know, were basically just being... It kind of broke it, you know, from a lore aspect, you know, it broke it, but also from the aspect that, you know, the hype that people really had from the game before that was announced. It shattered it, because people, you know, being Nords and, you know, were planning on being in the Ebon Heart Pact, actually go, no, you know what, I'm actually going to go Daggerfall now. So people were really kind of swapping sides and didn't really have that strong pride for the faction anymore. And it kind of ruined it a bit. You know, it ruined the faction pride aspect of it kind of completely, and it kind of meant the faction locked territory was kind of, you know, kind of redundant in a way, because, you know, the faction locked territory was something that was kind of true to the faction. It was something that, you know, people would be looking for to explore that area of the faction. It was very faction driven, whereas, you know, not really having that allegiance to the faction, or people in the faction not really having that allegiance to it, it kind of made it a lot less redundant. And I think, you know, having it open, being able to go everywhere, bringing it to that Elder Scrolls feel is something that's in the right step, and something that's good. You know, if they say from the beginning, you know, we're going to have everything's going to be completely open, there's going to be factions that you can take part of, these are the areas if you know, want to quest in these areas first, but, you know, it's going to be completely open, you can do what you want. That would have been fantastic, that would have been great. But to, you know, to have the balls to say we're going to have these locked territories, and, you know, you're going to be, once you're part of that faction, you're going to quest in these territories first. At one point, it was, you know, you questing them territories, and to question the others, you had to make a new character, which was probably, you know, a step too far. But, you know, having it the way it was a really good part of the game. You know, it had that real good allegiance, but, you know, it really got rid of that. And taking it, you know, apart now, maybe it's too late, but it's, you know, having it at the same time as one Tamriel is maybe a good step. And, you know, it's really probably a really good time now to jump into the Elder Scrolls Online again. You know, a really good time, you know, to test out a new character, see areas of the game you haven't seen before, and things like that. And I'm really looking forward to doing that. So, thanks a lot for watching this video. Please leave your comments, you know, if you want me to talk a bit more about the Elder Scrolls Online. Again, you know, I've really enjoyed, you know, people, you know, send me the feedback about the game and everything like that. I will be going back to playing it, so there will be another video. But if you want me to talk about the Elder Scrolls Online in more detail, I'll be more than happy to do so. I'll look forward to doing that video. I really appreciate as well, you know, support I've been getting, you know, when it comes down to the fact that I haven't really been putting out that many videos. I haven't really had time with university, like I said. But when it gets down to it, you know, with the holidays and everything coming up soon, I will be able to make more videos as well. So I'll be looking forward to doing that. Thanks a lot as well, you know, for all the tweets I've been getting as well. And follow me on Twitter as well if you haven't done so over there. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, check out the podcast and everything. And I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.